The reason your ex can't stop thinking about you has nothing to do with how good the relationship was. It's about what happened to their brain chemistry the moment you stopped trying. Most people think it's about nostalgia or unfinished business. They're wrong. It's about a specific neurological pattern that activates the moment you withdraw your attention, and it's the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. When you were together, their brain categorized you as a known reward, predictable dopamine source. But the second you went silent, something shifted. You became an intermittent variable reward. Their brain can't compute your absence, so it fills the void with obsessive thought loops. They're not missing you. They're missing the closure their neural pathways are demanding. Let me show you what's actually happening inside their head right now. Their anterior cingulate cortex, the part that processes social pain, is lighting up like a Christmas tree. Brain scans show this region activates identically whether you're experiencing physical pain or romantic rejection. To their nervous system, your absence is an actual wound. Their brain is treating your silence like a missing limb, but it goes deeper than pain. The real mechanism is something called the Zeigarnik effect. The human brain obsessively remembers unfinished tasks more than completed ones. When you ended things without giving them the typical closure script, without the long emotional conversation where everything gets said, you created an open loop. Their mind is now compulsively trying to close it. Every unresolved question, everything they wish they'd said, it's all cycling through their thoughts involuntarily. And you're not doing anything to stop it. That's what makes this so effective. Most people after a breakup make the catastrophic mistake of staying available. They answer texts, they explain themselves, they want to be kind, to be fair, to make sure their ex understands their reasoning. What they don't realize is that every interaction closes the loop a little more. Every explanation gives the brain resolution. Resolution kills obsession. Radio silence does the opposite. It amplifies the loop. Days turn into weeks. They check your social media, they replay conversations, they construct entire narratives about what you're thinking, who you're with, why you haven't reached out. None of these narratives are accurate, but that doesn't matter. The uncertainty itself is what keeps you alive in their mind. Here's where it gets interesting. Their brain is also dealing with what psychologists call the contrast effect. When you were together, they measured your value against a backdrop of daily proximity. They saw your flaws, your routines, your bad moods. They had a complete picture. Now that you're gone, they only remember highlights. Their memory is actively distorting reality, filtering out negative experiences and amplifying positive ones. You're becoming idealized in retrospect. This isn't conscious. They're not choosing to remember you this way. It's an automatic process. The brain hates loss more than it values gain. Losing you creates a perception of scarcity. Scarcity increases perceived value. You're literally becoming more attractive to them the longer you stay away. But there's a timer on this. The effect doesn't last forever, and most people accidentally reset the clock by breaking silence too early. They send a birthday text, they respond to a late-night message, they think they're being mature or compassionate. What they're actually doing is giving the brain evidence that you're still accessible. Accessibility kills obsession immediately. The ones who understand this, the ones who maintain complete absence, they're the ones their exes can't shake. Not because they're playing games, but because they're allowing natural psychology to run its course. The brain needs approximately 60 to 90 days of zero contact to begin the process of categorizing you as truly gone. Before that threshold, you're just temporarily unavailable. After it, something shifts. The obsessive thoughts either intensify into full crisis mode, or they begin to fade as acceptance sets in. Most exes hit crisis mode first. That's when you'll see the escalation. The texts become more frequent. They start showing up places they know you'll be. They reach out to your friends asking about you. This isn't love. This is their brain in panic mode, trying desperately to resolve the uncertainty you've created. They need to know where they stand. They need to close the loop. And the worst thing you can do is give them that closure. Because the moment you do, the obsession ends. They'll thank you for the conversation, feel relieved and move on within days. All that time they spent thinking about you, gone, resolved, finished. So what determines whether they stay stuck in that loop or eventually break free? What's the actual mechanism that keeps them thinking about you months later instead of just weeks? The answer isn't about what you meant to them. It's about what your absence is doing to their reward prediction system. And that's a pattern most people accidentally destroy before it ever fully develops. The reward prediction system is primitive. It doesn't care about compatibility or emotional connection. It cares about patterns. When they were with you, their brain learned a sequence. Interaction led to dopamine. Your attention was predictable, available, expected. The reward schedule was consistent. Now that pattern is broken. But here's what makes this neurologically devastating for them. Their brain doesn't just miss the reward, it keeps predicting the reward will return. Every notification could be you. Every familiar song might trigger a text from you. Every weekend holds the possibility you'll reach out. This is called intermittent reinforcement, and it's the most powerful conditioning mechanism that exists. It's why gambling is addictive. It's why people check social media obsessively. The brain becomes hyper-focused on the possibility of reward, not the reward itself. When you maintain complete silence, you're accidentally creating the strongest possible intermittent reinforcement schedule. Zero reinforcement. Their brain keeps predicting you'll return, keeps scanning for signals, keeps hoping for contact, but nothing comes. This doesn't extinguish the behavior, it intensifies it. The prediction error becomes massive. The gap between what their brain expects and what actually happens grows wider. That gap is psychological tension, and tension demands resolution. They start creating opportunities for accidental contact. They'll be at places you frequent. They'll engage with your social circle. They'll post things designed to get your attention. None of this is calculated strategy. It's their reward system in desperation mode, trying to manufacture the dopamine hit it's been predicting. Most people see these behaviors and think their ex is playing games or being manipulative. They're not. They're being controlled by neurochemistry they don't understand. Their conscious mind might even tell them to move on, but their reward system hasn't received the memo. It's still waiting for the pattern to complete. The duration of this effect depends on how the relationship ended. If you left them, their brain categorizes you as the reward that escaped. Value skyrockets. If they left you but you disappeared completely afterward, cognitive dissonance kicks in. They chose to leave, but your absence feels like rejection. Their brain starts questioning the decision. Did they make a mistake? Were you actually the one who ended it by disappearing? This ambiguity is torture for the nervous system. It needs clear categories, like winner and loser, pursuer and pursued. When you refuse to play either role, you become uncategorizable. That's what keeps you in their head. You're an unresolved equation, but the system isn't foolproof. There are ways people accidentally break the spell without realizing it. The most common is digital breadcrumbs. They think they're being subtle by watching their ex's stories or liking old photos. They're not. Every digital interaction sends a signal. You're still watching. You're still accessible. You're still in orbit. The reward system registers this as partial reinforcement. The obsession continues, but at a lower intensity. A true absence means zero footprint. No views, no likes, no comments, no mutual friend interactions they might hear about. You have to become a ghost in their digital world. This is harder than it sounds because your brain is running the same reward prediction system. You want to check on them. You want to see if they're thinking about you. Every time you look, you're feeding your own obsession while weakening theirs. The ones who master this, who achieve complete disconnection, they're the ones who haunt their exes for months or years, not because they're more attractive or more compatible, because they allowed the psychological mechanism to run without interference. They became the unsolved mystery their ex's brain can't stop trying to solve. Eventually, one of two things happens. Either the ex reaches a breaking point and makes a dramatic gesture to regain contact, or their brain finally accepts the loss and begins genuine detachment. You can't control which path they take, but you can control whether you give them the resolution that ends it early. Most people cave around the 45-day mark. They convince themselves that enough time has passed. They reach out with something casual, friendly, mature. They think they're being the bigger person. What they've actually done is close the loop. The ex feels relieved, thanks them for reaching out, and the obsessive thoughts stop within 72 hours. All that time spent thinking about you neutralized by one conversation. The people they can't forget are the ones who never gave them that resolution. The ones who understood that silence isn't cruelty. It's the only thing that allows the natural process to intensify rather than dissolve. Your absence is doing work that your presence never could. It's rewriting their perception, amplifying your value, creating an idealized version of you that reality could never match. The longer you stay away, the more powerful that version becomes. That's why they can't stop thinking about you. Not because of who you were, but because of what your absence has turned you into. An open question their mind can't stop trying to answer. The mechanism is simple, but most people never let it run its course. They interrupt it with explanations, with check-ins, with proof they're doing fine. Every interaction is a pressure release valve on the obsession building in their ex's mind. The ones who stay ghosts, who let the silence stretch until it becomes deafening, those are the ones who become permanent fixtures in someone else's thoughts. Not because they were perfect, but because they understood that unresolved tension is more powerful than any conversation could ever be. Your ex can't stop thinking about you because you never gave their brain permission to stop.